Hey, what's going on YouTube? Let's start off with the dollar. There's a daily chart. You can see how it crossed the 34 and it's riding the 8 all the way up. Hasn't closed below the 8 yet for quite a while. It's a daily chart. Let's look at a 5 hour, see if we can see anything. And a reversal pattern there. Right across the 34 again. We got a downtrend trend line. See if it'll break that or back off again. Weekly chart coming up on a week already. I can't believe it. Tomorrow is the end of the week. Hasn't really moved. It's gone down, bounced off the 8, came back up, and so far we have a down week. But everything seems to be stalled out there, if you haven't noticed. See what happens. Tomorrow is the first candle of the month for the weekly closes. Here's the month. Still hasn't gone above the EMA 8 on a monthly. So looks bullish on the short term and sluggish on the weekly. See if we can find any reversal bars on the shorter term. Here's a halfway hanging man. Not quite. There's the beginning of a falling star. Here's the AB bottom. Crushing the double top there, riding the wave. Who knows what's going to happen with this thing. Looks like it wants to bearish encompass the top there and come back down. See if it bounces on the 8. S&P looks like it's trying to break that flat top again and again. Looks like we got a hammer across the 8 on a daily. Let's look shorter term. There's a reversal 2-bar pattern breaking the downward trend line. Looks like on the weekly we are, so far, we've got one more day of trading. It looks like we got a hanging man forming on a weekly and a 1, 2, 3, 4 top on the weekly. Still way above our bearish trend line that was in play for so long. But see what happens. That might be a bullish bounce, hammer style, and watch out for a flat top break on that four tops there. Calling that a hammer because it's above our trend line, which is support. We're above support here, but if it breaks previous low, then we know it's confirmation that it's a hanging man. But that won't happen until next week. So we'll see how tomorrow ends on this one. S&P. The Dow, same thing, still bullish over the top here. It's trying to break this flat top break. Let's go shorter term. That was a daily. 5 hour. We got a reversal bar. Consolidation. Boom. Came all the way back down to the 34. Now we're above. It's trying to move higher. Seems like a lot of things lost gas, lost momentum since the beginning of the summer. But we're working off of higher lows, bounce off the 34, we're above trend. above support. We'll see what happens. Tomorrow's Friday. It looks like it's trying to go higher. NASDAQ, same thing. Got a top going on. Got another bounce over the 8. Hanging man or hammer. We'll see. Previous high breaks. It's a hammer. Previous low breaks. It's a hanging man. But, see a 5 hour. Reversal over the 34 on a 5 hour. Broke resistance, came back to resistance, and used it as support so far. Weekly, same thing. It really hasn't done much, has it? Everything's just so stalled out. Still above our trend, downward trend line, just barely. Well, we got a different trend line now, don't we? So it looks like it's hitting resistance. I would think that this is going to back off since it's so sluggish. Maybe it'll hold one more day, but the next it'll put in the spinning top, hitting resistance, backing off, and then breaking previous lows. Could very well break previous highs and make a flat top break. But it looks like a reverse head and shoulders over the 34. Maybe this will come down, hit the 34, make the right shoulder, and bounce back. Maybe the price will come down as well because I'm thinking the 8 is crossing, and I know from experience that once the 8 is crossing the 34, price comes down to meet it. So we'll see what happens next week. It's likely it's going to stay up here for another day. Maybe not. Crude, still making that lower high and the back off, but it's still above support now. Came down, made a lower high, a higher low, and now it's just above the 8 on a daily. So nice bounce. Still working a lower high on the daily, making that a double top. Looks like it's still trying to get over resistance on this flat top break. Looks like it could do it if it keeps above that EMA 8 for the weekly close. I think getting the 60, no problem if it does that. Gold. Still much of nothing, but it's not doing that piercing bullish pattern anymore. So, could be watch out below. We're still at 1200 as a support. If it breaks below previous lows, which is the low of this candle and the low of that candle, could be watch out below. Could be another $20 drop. Who knows? But it hasn't moved all week, obviously. Just right there. It's a $20 range on this one. Let's see. Need some reversal bars. Here's a reversal, obviously. We were looking at that earlier. Got a nasty, or actually a nice hammer. Comes down, makes a double bottom. Goes up to meet its trend. Backs off. Goes up to another try. Backs off. Now we're at a bullish encompassing. Working on a higher low, minuscule higher low, but nonetheless. So we got the 8, the 13, and the 34 right here. This thing can pop at any time. Just needs a little push and get above 1220 for a nice flat top break, breaking in the previous lows up to our next previous lows or previous highs. 1230 seems like a good spot if this thing could get just one flat top break at 1220. Let's go a little shorter term. See if we can find some better reversal bars. There's a nice hammer off the 8, closing above the 13. That's a good sign. We need this thing to get all the way up here, huh? It's having trouble breaking in the previous lows, obviously. But we are closed there above, and it's still trying, it's still making a nice hammer. 60 minutes. Let's see if we can come back to this and see if it's still holding strong. Silver. I got the daily chart on silver up because I wanted to make witness the high, the balance point, and the measured move. So if you take this and the break from the 34 SMA, it almost moved exactly the same as it went up. The high to its breaking point, and then so I'm using this as the balance point of the wave. So we had this wave, and on the backs of that wave, and then the inverse of the wave came back down. So we need to find some reversal bars. Looks pretty flat, doesn't it? Here's a reversal 2-bar pattern. Not much going on in 60 minutes, just a lot of sideways action, that's about it. Consolidation, consolidation, consolidation. 60 minutes, we're above our 34. Looks like it wants to go higher from here. Really hasn't done anything all week. Let's go to 5-hour. Looks like accumulation from here. Accumulation, pop, accumulation. And that nice hammer here, dropped, double bottom, just like on gold. We get a little flat top break at 1605. Flat top break there should get us to our trend on silver. Let's see what happens. For the week, silver is, hopefully, we got one more day. Let's pray for a nice hammer. Let's get this up to, let's just make it the best reversal bar ever. Come up across the red, starting to green to 1620, right? That's where we want to be. And this thing would be a nice green hammer. It's probable. See what happens. Copper did it a bounce. We got a double top, a lower high. It broke previous lows, bounced back into previous lows like a bullish retracement, and now we're backing off again. Watch for previous low breaks on copper. Unless it wants to hold here, make a higher low and work its way back across. Definitely want to close the week out above previous lows, and definitely above, let's call it 215. But silver doesn't move, or copper doesn't move that much, so I don't see that happening. Anything could happen, but see. So thought we had a trend break on the weekly chart for copper, but it did not hold. It made a double top instead. We still have this low and higher low, longer term. So maybe we can make a trend and this thing can just keep riding up until it breaks 230. But we haven't changed trend on copper yet, mainly because on the monthly we have a lot of work to do to get back up to our trend. 273 is where the number is right now. Maybe this could be the higher low, and it's going to work its way back up. Could be. Watch for previous low breaks at 2, but doesn't move. It hasn't moved very much this week, this month. GDX. Here's a daily. We're still below our 34. We've got lots of resistance on the way up on GDX. Still holding strong between the 8 and the 13 on a weekly. See if we can find some reversal bars. We got a high trend line going. Higher lows all the way up. It's consolidation. And we got a downtrend line, which is our trend. And so far we're above that on a 60-minute. It'd be nice to get above 2340, which is this gap here, breaking in the previous lows. That's where we really want to be. Looks like a bullish pattern on the 60-minute. If you take price going in, it went out, came back in, came out, came back in, came out again. Look for a previous high break at 23. Could very easily do that as 8 and the 13. As it finally went across, the 8 crossed with it and came back down to meet the 8 and 13 as a big splash. So, looks like a churning of the tide on the 60-minute on GDX. And there's our trend line. It looks pretty steep. That could crash down any minute. But so far it's holding strong. We need to give it above our resistance lines, breaking in the previous lows up to that gap. This looks bearish, that pattern, this long trend line here. It's pretty steep. That can just crack down at any moment. So let's see what happens. And so far on the weekly, it's GDXJ, still in that little pattern. Or GDX, still in between support and resistance. EMA 8, EMA 13, using the 13 right now as support. Hopefully by tomorrow we can get above the EMA 8, making this a more of a bullish 2-bar pattern. It's not a bullish piercing pattern because it didn't gap down and then close in. But it's holding its own. Still using 22 as support. but it looks bearish on that short term. It's a nice steep line there. 60 minutes holding strong, 5 hours, the one that looked bearish. But if gold and silver can pick up the pace, I think that it'll carry this weak trend line up across resistance, and then we'll have support. Right now we're not working with too much support on a 5 hour. So far for the month, you can see how it came down drastically last month and has not broken down yet. Monthly, again, the 8 is crossing over, so maybe we'll see this price come down in the next 3 weeks as the 8 needs to meet. That doesn't always happen, it just happens a lot. Price comes down as the 8 crosses the 34. We'll see. We got a couple bearish signals and a couple bullish signals. Let's see what happens. GDXJ, same thing. It's below on the daily, below support levels. Lots of resistance on the way up. You can see that nasty candle right there. Let's see if we can find a reversal bar on GDXJ. A small hammer closing out the day. Closing below support. Still long. We got that sharp trend line up that could break down at any second. Here's another trend line that's up like that. It just gapped down below it. So watch out below. I mean, seen worse things happen, but since it's below, the measured move would be 40 to 35. So then 35 to 30 could go all the way down to 30 on a measured move. Let's just call it 40 to 35, and so basically down to 30 if it did want to break down. Doesn't look good. Let's see. Weekly, still high and tight. Same as GDX. It's between our support levels and resistance. Try to break this week, but this is more of a bullish piercing as it did come down first and then broke in. So hopefully we can close above the EMA 8. But that looks like a bearish retracement as a breakdown of this 3-bar pattern. That triple bottom there. As it broke down, it became major resistance. So it came down, hit support at 13, came all the way back up and hit that resistance line, and then backed off. See how tomorrow closes. Weeklies are important. Let's take a look at CLF. Gap has not cleared yet, and the EMA 8 and 13 are coming across here shortly on the daily. Doesn't look like it wants to close the gap. It's still bullish. Weekly, you can see how strong that move was. It's likely it's going to keep going. I mean, because that was the bullish retracement right there. And we got a 3-bar pattern. We got an inverse hammer. We got a spinning top right across the support lines. Gapped across, moved above, coming across previous highs right now. Let's see if we can close the week out above 50% of this candle, which it's right there, which is previous highs, basically. So it looks bullish. Any previous high breaks on that daily chart would take a ride, because on a weekly, the more emphasis it has, it's signaling trend change. It popped across, bullish retraced, bounced, came across that 8, made a high, came across all the way back down to the 34 almost, and then bounced hard. Gap and run. Like I said, any breaks, any previous high breaks here, I'd take a ride, because I think it wants to go higher. So there you go. Let's see how the month looks. Month is just in its infancy on any kind of move. I think it'll go to 10. Major previous high breaks at, what was that, 550 or so. Working in the previous lows could get you all the way to $16. Wow. It's a big chart. Lots of room to move up. This thing was taken down hard since, what is that, 2012, when it finally broke down. You can see that J curve. I think I mentioned it on this chart. That J curve, it is bullish. Those J curves, nice pops out of this thing, I think. See what happens. Eldorado Gold, I'm kind of liking the daily bouncing off of the. It's in a pinch. You can see resistance coming down. You can see the bullish trend going up as price has been twisting and churning in this thing. I think it's almost popped today. Look for a flat top break of 440. 440, take a ride. But also take a witness on the downside as the EMA 8 and the 13 are pointing down. All we need is a close above 440 or above the EMA 8 and 13 on a weekly. So right now we are closing above already, above, and we're bouncing pretty nicely off the EMA 8 on a weekly chart. So closing out the week in this area would not be bad at all. But above 440, you can look next week for higher prices. For the month on Eldorado, you got a bullish 2-bar pattern. You got a bullish hammer coming across, moving up, hit the trend, came all the way back and bounced on a monthly. Now we're opening. I want to be able to close the week above that body, and it's almost there. Tried to already. Definitely want to close above previous highs, which is 427. Came across, boom, bullish retraced all the way back, closed, and I think it's bullish, but you never know. Especially if, let's go back and check gold, see how we're faring. It wanted to move up a minute ago. Looks like it lost its hammer for the minute. We got 10 more minutes. It's closing above resistance. It's got support now. Nice little what do you call it? Not a gravestone. Gravestones are at the top. Dragonfly doji at the bottoms, where the price closes on its price closes as it opened. So it's got a oh, there it goes. Not a dragonfly doji anymore. All right, so keep an eye on that. If we can get gold and silver, silver needs to come up, make a nice hammer for the weekly close. Let's get those two going. Next week, I think that we can get a nice bounce from them next week. That's what I say. Anyways, thanks for watching. That's all I got. Sorry I didn't do a video yesterday. I just lost all energy, and I came home right after work and just passed out. So sorry about that, and we'll see what happens. Weekly closes tomorrow. See you guys.